Good evening and welcome back to our Facebook Live. Sorry about my coughing. It's Jenny McCormack from Gemini Crafts. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I need to tidy up my desk. So we have finally a stamp set of the week. I've got a little bit out of kilter this week. What with bank holiday, and then I did a live featuring a kit, and then I've had a busy week with coffee and card. Finally, I can announce our stamp set of the week. Now, this stamp set is actually one that's coming out next week. So this is a preview. As you can see, it is called Regal Flora, and it is in our autumn-winter catalogue. So this runs from September through to December. I can't show you the contents of that until it goes live, but this is one of the stamp sets in there. It does have some matching papers. This is the catalogue that's coming out, so if you're a customer of mine, keep an eye out for that coming through your door, either in a class in a box or you'll get it in person at Coffee and Card. So this particular stamp set is called Regal, excuse me, it's called Regal Flora. It's a cling stamp set, and it does have matching papers and matching dies. But what I wanted to show you this evening is, very often people say to me, I've got to do a card. I've got to do a card for my brother-in-law, for my sister, for my mum, for my daughter, for my friend, but I've got a complete blank, and it happens to us all, I can assure you. So what I wanted to do this evening was just quickly show you two ways you can crack on with a card when you have no idea where you're starting from, if that makes any sense. So let me show you two things. The papers that I've chosen to match with this set are actually from the Annual Catalogue, and these are called Wildly Flowering. I have no idea why my dog's barking, sorry. They're called Wildly Flowering, and they feature some of the in colours from last year. So we've got some boho blue, we've got wild wheat, we've got moody mauve, there's a little bit of espresso in there, and mossy meadow as well. And I think that's probably it. There's a little bit here, which is not quite basic beige. It's more of a crumb cake. So one of my first suggestions, if you're struggling to make a card, is to find some papers and use those papers, and then just select 2 or 3 colours that coordinate with those. And that way you've got an instant connection between the papers and whatever you're stamping. And it may only be a sentiment that you're stamping, but it's a good way of making sure everything coordinates and sort of sticks together. Sometimes if you pick out a bit of paper and you've got an ink pad in mind, the two don't necessarily gel, and you get frustrated because when you make your card, there's something about it that doesn't quite sit right. So my first suggestion is grab yourself some paper, and it doesn't have to be a whole pack. It can just literally be one piece of paper that you're going to use on your card, and then find just 2 or 3 ink pads that either go with that. Hi Caroline. They might coordinate, they might be exactly the same, they might be a lighter or a darker tone of the papers that you've got. They may not obviously be exactly the same. So you might have a lighter pink, for example, to go with this. You might have basic beige that will go with this. I actually love these papers. I'm surprised I haven't used them for a class in a box yet, so watch out, that might come soon. So my first hint for you, if you're struggling to make a card and you've got to make one, find a bit of paper and then use some coordinating colours. Let me show you these really quickly. So I've got this one here, and then that on the reverse. It's almost like wallpaper, it's that pretty. And we've got this one similar, but in wild wheat, with that on the reverse. And these are all really pretty, aren't they? This one here with misty moonlight on the back, and then we've got boho blue as our backing there, and then this is coordinating with that, and then we've got this one here, and with the pretty white flowers on the Moody Mauve background, and then this beautiful one which reminds me of clover. I'm sure it probably isn't clover at all, but it reminds me of that. And then we've got crumb cake on the back. These papers at the moment are actually on sale until the end of August. So instead of $11.75 per pack of 12 sheets of 12 by 12, this is just a quarter of a pack. They're $9.99. Each sheet of this would make 3 standard size cards. So you get 6 cards to each sheet, and there are 12 sheets. So technically, if you just cut this up, you would be able to get 72 cards out of 1 pack of paper. So that's my first tip, is choose your papers and then just choose 1 or 2 coordinating inks. And then the other thing I recommend you do, and if you have a catalogue, you can do this in person. I'm just reaching this one which has got buried. And if you don't have a catalogue, you can look online. If you go to jeminicrafts.co.uk, look down the right hand side, you will see a link to all of our current catalogues. In this annual one, on page 22, there are a whole series of templates. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22 different templates. And there are another 20 different templates in the new catalogue. And if you're stuck for an idea, just pick one of the templates, and some of these are really easy and straightforward. I'm going to actually use this one here, which has it's a card base, and then it's got something on top, which could be paper, it could be a die cut, it could just be a rectangle, and then it's got a little bow or something going across it. So I'm actually going to use that one. Not sure you can see it really, it's a bit light on that, in that screen and the reflection. So that's on page 22 of the annual catalogue. So all I need to do to start with is choose which of these lovely papers I'm going to use. And I think maybe this one, but I do also like, well, I like them all actually, but I think I'm going to use that one. Or am I? Oh, nothing between them, is there really? Okay, let's just go for that one. That's my first obvious choice. So what I'm going to do is this is going to go onto my card base, and then I'm just going to use a die cut. Now I was looking for a flag or a banner, but this is the first one that came to hand, and I knew I was tight for time this evening after taking the dog out for an hour and a half to wear him out and also me. So I'm going to cut this down and do my stamping on here using my Regal Flora stamp set. Hi Scott, thanks for joining us. If you've got the Wildly Flowering stamp set, you could use that. I didn't actually buy that set, but this is a new one from the catalogue. It's one of our distInktive ones that has all of the detail in the stamp itself. So first thing I'm going to do is grab a card base. See what I've got to hand. That goes the right direction. We'll do a vertical one. So this is what we'll be doing at Coffee and Card. tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday. And I seem to have buried my... It must be in the other room. Oh no, there it is. My trimmer. Dear me, I've got so much on my desk that I buried my own trimmer. Okay, so all I'm going to do, I've got a white card base, is I'm going to cut a piece of this to size. So I'm going to cut this to 10 centimetres by 14.35. I think these are embedded on Caroline's brain after our class on Tuesday when I made her cut all of her own cards and layers. And this doesn't really have a right or wrong way in my mind. Sometimes you can look on the back and see if there's a definitive way, but again this goes sort of all over, doesn't it? This could be any way. So I'm just going to use the small design, okay, and I'm going to layer that onto there. So let's do that first. If you're unsure, leave the layering until you've made your piece that's going to go on the top, and because you might find that you want a bigger piece. This has got a little bit too much white, and I've already got a white piece, so that's why I'm sticking to this particular size. So 10 centimetres by 14.35. That's going to go there, and then I'm going to use this to stamp onto. Let's see if I've got a piece of grid paper that I can use. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment first and then stamp my flowers around it. And for this particular piece I'm just using Early Espresso and Moody Mauve. So I'm picking up, I'm going to stamp in Moody Mauve for the flowers, and then I'm going to do the leaves in Espresso exactly like that. Well, not exactly like that, but similar to that. So let's pop our sentiment on. I'm going to use Espresso, and I just happen to have a happy birthday to hand, so I'm literally just going to use what I have at the ready. It's been a busy old day, and I've got to finish the class in a box, so I've got to go out and prep for tomorrow's coffee and card. Let's see. I'm going to have this top left, and this die comes from the Nested Essentials set. You could use a tag, you could just use a circle, you could use a rectangle that you've cut out. When you're using the sample that you see on page 22, don't feel you have to have it exactly as they have it. Alright, you can change shapes, you can change ribbon for a strip of card, all sorts of things. Okay, so this is Moody Mauve I'm going to use for my flowers. This is the stamp set, Regal Flora from the new catalogue. And I haven't got as far as labelling anything. I'm going to use this set of 3. Let's just pop that label on because it'll be easier for you to see where I am stamping and what I'm stamping. So, I need to take my glasses off. So I'm just positioning that on the label, and then I just take one half off and then let the other half sit down. So I'm thinking something like that. And this also has this cute little set of flower buds and a separate flower. So this would be really easy to add more detail. And I'm going to use those leaves as well. And I might end up using the flower on its own. Okay, so just quickly pop this label on as well. So take half the label off. Take time to get it roughly in place. I won't say that I always get it in the right place, because I don't. Oh, there we go. Okay, so let's stamp the flower. I think I've probably got a fair bit of ink on this, so I'm just going to move some of it across, because this is a colour I don't use very often. Okay, ink on the block, ink on my fingers. Right, let's see what that looks like. Okay, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to have these on the edge, just going off the edge here, like so. And then I'm going to add the corner and the corner, and that may be all I need. So remember, if you've got to do a card in a hurry, don't take forever about it unless you've got a lot of time. Okay, so those are those espresso leaves. This is actually a little bit light, this espresso, but it will do for our purposes, like so. Okay, now if I wanted to, let me just see, I could add this flower, but I think that's a bit too big. I could add these little ones, and there's also this little sweet one with leaves and tiny little buds. There's also these little dots. I think I'm going to use the dots. I was going to use the flower, but I think that will work perfectly in there. I'm not going to worry about the label for the minute, and I'm going to use Moody Mauve, but I'm going to just, let's see, I don't want all of them, so what I'm going to do is just ink up part of this. So just to show you, literally just inking that section up, and then you'll just get a little bit, and they're slightly uneven shaped dots. Just going to pop those in here, like that, like so. And I might put a few in at the top as well. Just going to stamp that off a little bit. Like that. Okay. So that's going to be the excuse me, the piece I add into here. And then I do have coordinating ribbon, because this was one of our in colours, and if you remember the sketch that I looked at, it had a tag and then ribbon or string around it. So I could add this either just wrapped around here. It does feel quite heavy for the size, so what I might do is just cut this in half down the middle. So let's cover this up. I could also pop a hole in here and make it into a tag, but let us just see. Now it depends on the ribbon. I do need a pair of scissors that actually work though. So what you can do, if the ribbon is too wide or too thick, is you can just cut it down the middle. And sometimes you can, it depends on the ribbon, if you want to, sometimes you can fray it to make it look more delicate, like so. And so let's do that, just see. It does depend on the ribbon. Some will work like this and some won't. Like so. And it also gives you, in this case, the edge. So can you see what a difference that makes? It's just quite a bit lighter than that solid ribbon. And if I don't want to wrap it round, I could just tie a little bow and have this at the side. So I'm just going to fray this a little bit more so it's narrower. Sorry, that's Chino digging my carpet. So I'm just looking to see if I can do a combination of wrapping this round here, like so, and then having that at the edge, like that. Let's give it a go. Now, I'm going to use my, I was going to use my Seal Plus, but it's just run out. So let's just use a little bit of, I'm just going to hold it with a bit of tape. I could also cut, I might do that. Cut that down. So I know I can't put that on my trimmer because it's sticky, so what you can do is put it onto a piece of paper and run the paper and that through, and then peel this off because this is washi tape. So let's just do that. See what looks best. So just going to line this up roughly. And see if I prefer that. Like so. There we are. I'm going to go with that. No, I'm going to leave the ribbon off after all that. Sorry folks. Right, let's put some dimensionals on this and let me just check, see if anybody else has commented. Oh, Caroline, yes, that doesn't make a difference. Oh, hi Nicole, good evening to you. And Fran, hello to you. We are worldwide today. So I'm just putting some tape on, some dimensional tape on the back of this. So for those that missed the beginning, a couple of ideas when you're stuck for ideas is to find some paper and then just pick one or two colours of ink that match the paper to stamp a sentiment or a flower or an aeroplane or whatever it might be. And then the other idea is to use the templates on both the Annual Catalogue on page 22 and also, not 22, maybe 16. And then there's also some in the new Christmas catalogue as well, which comes out next week. Okay, I'm going to put a piece in the middle actually, just to support that. So our stamp set of the week is the new Regal Flora. This is the stamp set that we'll be using at Coffee and Card from the new catalogue. I couldn't wait any longer. Right, make sure those are done. So you could put this in the centre. You could put this on the left hand side. I'm going to put it slightly high of centre. It depends on whether you want to highlight anything you know, that's behind on that little bit of paper. And then finally I would add a little bit of bling to pick up that silver. But what I am going to do is add that little strip on the inside, and I'm going to stamp those flowers as well. So let's do the stamping first. Got threads of ribbon now. So Moody Mauve, and then this, on this set of sentiments, as well as the floral images and the dots, it's got sending love your way, thanks, missing you, and wishing I were there to give you a hug, which I think in this day and age is really sweet. Not everybody's cup of tea, I'm sure. Okay, so let's add those flowers in Moody Mauve, and then I'll add the leaves in Early Espresso. Thank you. Yes, so for cutting the tape, you know, if you cut it with scissors, if you're happy for it to be uneven, that's fine. It also messes up your scissors because you get the glue on the scissors. And the same thing, so just pop the piece of tape onto your paper like this, and then just cut it however many times. If you wanted a really narrow one, you could cut it again, and I could add a little strip across there, which I might just do. Right, here's espresso for the leaves. Put that in there, put a few in there, something like that. So there's our inside, there's our outside. So I'm just wondering, let's close these up first. And I've got, I don't think I need that, but what I might do is cut another strip of this really narrow and add it. Normally when you cut 12 by 12 down, you get that strip left over, which is perfect for the inside of your card. So I'm just going to cut this narrower. Let's see. There we go. That'll do. So you can do that with washi tape or any tape that's not overly sticky. If you've got a very sticky piece of tape, then you won't want to do that. Let's cut the edge straight, and then I can just put that in across there to match. And I've taken it off without the sticky bit. Come on. Okay. I've just taken the edge of the paper off, that's all. See if I can get underneath it. No, it doesn't want to come off. Oh, yes it does. Not much of it, so what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of glue. Tiniest bit, she says. So you don't want too much. Come on. Sorry. I'm going to dot a little bit from my little piece of paper here. There we go. So I think I'm going to have that just a little up from the edge. Just to mimic this piece here. Like that. And then trim that last little bit off. And we're done. So there we go, a nice, quick and simple card, just using the floral paper as my starting point, adding in ink pads that match, so you don't have to think about it, and then adding, in this case, that little bit of silver, but I could have used my partly cut piece here and wrapped it round. That would have also worked. But I stuck with the silver piece, literally, and then stamped on the inside and added the silver bit there. And then I will add some little bits of bling on there. My bling's all packed at the minute, so I will get some out and add some either of the Moody Mauve colour or just the plain gems that we have in the silver, which would pick up that silver really nicely. So there we go. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, and I shall be back on certainly on Monday morning for another using this stamp set for our stamp set of the week. So we start tomorrow, Friday this time round, and then we have Monday and Tuesday next week using this same stamp set. So don't forget, there is a paper sale on at the moment. These are included in the sale, so it's 15% off. So instead of £11.75, this whole pack of papers is just £9.99. I will be ordering again. What day it is today? Thursday. So probably Friday as my last order for August. And then we start again in September, and our new catalogue goes live on the 4th September, along with a whole host of other new items, scrapbooking products. We have 2 new kits that should go live at the same time, so I do hope you're able to join me and see what we're up to. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. I'm off to go and see what Woody's up to. It's very quiet, which always makes me slightly concerned. So I'm glad you like the card. I do love the papers, so you'll be seeing more of those, absolutely, no doubt. Thanks everyone, have a great evening. I do need to do some tidying up, and I'll look forward to catching up and crafting with you really soon. Bye for now.